Imagine boarding a flight, minding your own business, when suddenly the very person responsible for your journey insults you. And not just any person, the pilot himself. This is exactly what happened to Mohamed Salah. But what happened next? No one saw it coming. Today, we're diving into a shocking incident that unfolded at 30,000 feet in the air. It was supposed to be a routine first-class flight. Passengers settling in, flight attendants going through safety procedures, and everything running smoothly. But then, something unexpected happened. A pilot, a man responsible for flying the plane and ensuring the comfort of his passengers, made an offhand remark. But this wasn't just any passenger. This was Mohamed Salah, one of the greatest footballers in the world. The pilot, unaware or perhaps unimpressed by who he was talking to, decided to belittle him with a sarcastic comment. Now, most people in Salah's position might have reacted with anger, frustration, or even a sharp comeback. After all, being disrespected, especially in a public setting, isn't easy to ignore. But Salah, he handled the situation in a way that left not just the pilot, but everyone on that flight in complete shock. What did the pilot say? And more importantly, how did Salah respond in a way that turned an insult into an unforgettable lesson in humility and respect? Stay tuned, because this is a story you don't want to miss. The boarding process is smooth. Passengers file into the first-class cabin, placing their luggage in the overhead compartments and settling into their plush seats. The atmosphere is calm, a typical scene for a long-haul flight. Among the passengers is Mohamed Salah, dressed in a simple hoodie, track pants, and sneakers. He keeps his head down, avoiding unnecessary attention. He's not the type to demand special treatment or make a big deal about his presence. For him, this is just another flight, just another journey. As he reaches his seat and places his bag in the overhead compartment, a couple of flight attendants instantly recognize him. Their eyes light up with excitement, but they maintain professionalism. One of them, smiling, approaches him. Flight attendant, excited but polite, "Mr. Salah, it's an honor to have you on board. I'm a huge fan." Salah gives a humble smile and nods. "Salah, thank you. I appreciate that." The other flight attendant joins in. Second flight attendant, "We were just talking about your last game. What a performance. You made it look so easy." Salah chuckles softly. He's used to this kind of attention, but he always remains humble. He thanks him again and takes a seat, plugging in his headphones to relax. But not everyone on board seems impressed. A few feet away, the pilot stands near the cockpit door, casually observing the interaction. He smirks, shaking his head slightly. As he turns away, he mutters under his breath, just loud enough for a nearby crew member to hear. Pilot sarcastically, "Footballers, so much hype for just kicking a ball around." The tone in his voice is dismissive, almost mocking. To him, celebrities like Salah are nothing special, just athletes who get paid way too much for doing something trivial. Little does he know, this flight is about to take a turn he never expected. As the cabin settles, Mohamed Salah leans back in his seat, adjusting his headphone. He has traveled countless times, and first-class flights have become a normal part of his career. With his hoodie slightly pulled over his head, he closes his eyes, hoping for a peaceful journey. But peace is the last thing he's about to get. The pilot steps out of the cockpit, casually strolling through the first-class cabin. His uniform is crisp, his presence authoritative. He isn't making a routine check. He's just taking a moment to stretch his legs. As he walks past Salah's seat, he slows down, his eyes scanning the football with thinly veiled disapproval. Then, with a smirk, he delivers a remark that instantly shifts the energy in the cabin. Pilot, mockingly, "Footballers have it easy, don't they? Paid millions just to run around after a ball." A hush falls over the nearby passengers. Some of them glance towards Salah, their expressions shifting from surprise to discomfort. A few shift in their seats, unsure what to say or do. Did the pilot really just say that? Salah, however, doesn't react the way most people would expect. He doesn't frown. He doesn't argue. He doesn't even look annoyed. Instead, he smiles. A simple, genuine smile. Salah, calmly, "I suppose that's one way to look at it." His response is measured, polite, and completely devoid of any irritation. There's no anger, no attempt to defend himself, just a soft, knowing nod. The pilot chuckles, clearly assuming he has won this little exchange. In his mind, Salah has no comeback, no defense. Pilot, chuckling, "Didn't think you'd disagree." With that, he walks away, still smirking. He has no idea that he just set the stage for one of the most humbling lessons of his life. As he disappears back into the cockpit, the tension in the cabin lingers. Some passengers glance at Salah, silently admiring his grace under pressure. Others exchange looks, perhaps expecting more drama. But Salah, he simply reclines his seat, puts his headphones back on, and closes his eyes, unbothered. Little does the pilot know, before this flight is over, he will come to regret those words. A few hours into the flight, everything seems normal. The passengers are relaxed, some watching movies, others dozing off. Mohamed Salah sits quietly in his seat, scrolling through his phone in between sips of water. He hasn't given the pilot's remark a second thought. He's used to criticism, both on and off the pitch. But then, the unexpected happens. A sudden jolt shakes the plane. Passengers gasp, some gripping their armrests. The seatbelt signs flash on. A flight attendant's voice comes over the speakers, trying to keep the passengers calm. Flight attendant, over intercom, ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some turbulence. Please remain seated and keep your seatbelts fastened. Most passengers brace themselves, expecting a few rough patches before things smooth out. But in the cockpit, something far more serious is unfolding. The pilot, who had confidently mocked Salah just hours ago, suddenly clutches his chest. His face goes pale and sweat beads on his forehead. He struggles to breathe, his hands trembling as he reaches for controls. Pilot weakly, I don't feel right. His voice is barely above a whisper, but the co-pilot notices instantly. Alarmed, the co-pilot takes control of the aircraft, ensuring that it stays on course, while also calling for assistance from the cabin crew. Co-pilot, urgent but composed, we need medical help now. In the first-class cabin, passengers sense the tension. The crew rushes toward the cockpit, whispering among themselves. Some passengers look around anxiously, trying to figure out what's happening. Salah, keenly observant, notices a shift in energy. He sees the concerned expressions on the flight attendants' faces. He watches as one of them rushes toward the front of the plane. Then he hears the words. Flight attendant panicked. To another crew member, the pilot's unwell. He can't continue. For a brief moment, a heavy silence fills the cabin. This is serious. The man responsible for flying the plane is incapacitated. Passengers begin whispering. Some start praying. Others fidget nervously in their seats. Tension grips the air. And then Salah moves. Without hesitation, he unbuckles his seatbelt and stands up. This isn't about football anymore. This isn't about fame, fortune, or who said what a few hours ago. This is about a human being in distress. Salah calmly approaches the crew. Salah, gently but firmly, how bad is it? The flight attendant, caught off guard, stammers. Flight attendant, he's barely responsive. We're trying to stabilize him. Salah nods, his expression serious but calm. He has spent his career handling pressure. This is no different. Salah, to the crew, tell me what I can do to help. At that moment, Salah isn't a football star. He isn't a celebrity or a millionaire athlete. He is just a person stepping up in a moment of crisis. And nobody, least of all the pilot, could have predicted what would happen next. The atmosphere in the cabin is tense. Passengers exchange nervous glances, some whispering anxiously. The man responsible for flying the plane is incapacitated, and no one knows what will happen next. As the flight attendants scramble to handle the situation, Salah doesn't hesitate. He may not be a doctor or a pilot, but he knows one thing. In times of crisis, staying calm is the most important thing. Salah turns to a nearby flight attendant. Salah, calmly, is there a doctor on board? The flight attendant, visibly shaken, nods and rushes toward the intercom. Flight attendant, over intercom, if there is a medical professional on board, please make yourself known immediately. For a moment, there's silence. Then, a middle-aged man in business class raises his hand. Passenger, I'm a doctor. The tension eases slightly as the doctor makes his way to the cockpit, but the nervous energy in the cabin lingers. Passengers are worried. Will the pilot recover? Will the co-pilot be able to handle the flight alone? Salah notices a woman seated nearby, clutching her husband's hand, fear evident in her eyes. A few rows ahead, a child grips his mother's sleeve, his small face filled with confusion. This is when Salah steps up, not as a footballer, but as a leader. He moves through the cabin, offering quiet reassurances to those who look the most frightened. Salah, to a nervous passenger, it's going to be okay. The co-pilot has things under control. With every calm word and reassuring smile, he helps ease the tension. The crew takes notice, grateful for his presence. Meanwhile, inside the cockpit, the doctor examines the pilot. The man who, just hours ago, had dismissed Salah with a smug remark is now weak and vulnerable. His breathing is shallow, his forehead damp with sweat. Doctor, you had a sharp drop in blood pressure. You need to stay still. The pilot, still groggy, blinks and slowly turns his head. Through the open door, he catches a glimpse of the first-class cabin, and what he sees leaves him speechless. Salah, the same man he insulted, is helping to keep the passengers calm. He watches as Salah places a comforting hand on a man's shoulder as he reassures a mother worried for her child. The same man he had mocked for just kicking a ball around is now proving that character isn't defined by profession, but by actions. The pilot, humbled and unable to speak, closes his eyes. He had misjudged Salah completely. The footballer's kindness isn't just a public image, it's real. And for the first time in his career, the pilot realizes something important. True greatness isn't about what you do for a living. It's about how you treat others. The tension in the cabin gradually eases as the doctor stabilizes the pilot. His breathing has returned to normal, and though he still looks pale, the immediate danger has passed. The co-pilot remains in control, keeping the flight steady, while the crew does their best to restore a sense of normalcy. The pilot, now aware of everything that transpired, sits in the cockpit, deep in thought. He remembers his words from earlier, his dismissive tone, his arrogance. He had judged Salah without knowing him, assuming that a footballer couldn't possibly understand real responsibility or hard work. But now he had witnessed something that completely shattered his perception. He had seen Salah, a man he had insulted, rise to the occasion with humility and kindness. Instead of holding a grudge, instead of ignoring the situation, Salah had helped keep the passengers calm. He had spoken with the crew, reassured frightened travelers, and acted with a sense of leadership that went beyond the football pitch. And that's when it hit him. Salah's greatness wasn't just about his skills on the field. It was about his character. After a few minutes of quiet reflection, the pilot gathers his strength. He knows what he has to do with the help of a flight attendant. He slowly makes his way toward the first-class cabin. The passengers, who had been whispering among themselves, fall silent as they see him approach Salah's seat. For the first time since the flight began, the pilot looks at Salah not as a footballer, but as a person. He clears his throat, then speaks, this time without arrogance. "Pilot, genuinely, Mr. Salah, I owe you an apology." Salah, who had been resting in his seat, looks up. The pilot takes a deep breath before continuing. "Pilot, I judge you before even knowing you. I assume things about you because of your profession. But today, I saw something that changed my mind." Salah listens, his expression calm and understanding. The pilot glances around the cabin, where passengers are now fully tuned in to their conversation. His voice softens as he adds, "Pilot, you didn't just prove me wrong. You taught me something important." Salah simply smiles, his response effortless but profound. "Salah, respect isn't about what you do. It's about who you are." For a moment, there is silence. Then, one by one, passengers begin to nod, murmuring in agreement. Some exchange glances, clearly moved by the interaction. A few even offer small smiles, appreciating the humility in Salah's response. The pilot, still humbled, extends his hand. "Pilot, sincerely, thank you." Without hesitation, Salah shakes his hand. It is a simple gesture, but one that holds weight. The pilot walks away with a new perspective, while the passengers, having witnessed the entire exchange, are left in awe. Because at that moment, it was clear true respect isn't demanded, it's earned. What do you think about this story? Would you have reacted the same way as Mohamed Salah, or would you have handled it differently? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your perspective. This story is a powerful reminder that character is revealed in the toughest moments. Salah didn't respond with anger or ego. He chose kindness, proving that true strength lies in humility. If you found this story inspiring, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It helps us bring you more incredible stories like this. And don't forget, subscribe to our channel for more motivational and real-life stories. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We got plenty more uplifting content coming your way, so stay tuned. See you in the next video. This moment wasn't just about football. It was about character, humility, and proving that respect is earned, not demanded. Mohamed Salah didn't let arrogance or insults define his reaction. He chose kindness over pride, showing the world that true greatness isn't just about skill. It's about how you treat others. This story reminds us that everyone deserves respect, no matter their profession, background, or status. And sometimes the best way to teach a lesson isn't through words, but through actions. If you enjoyed this story and found it inspiring, make sure to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real-life stories that motivate and inspire. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.